Ooh, my homies. Oh, get up. Get up and move. It's time to, you gotta bust down, all right? Get out of bed. I do not care. I'm feeling too good not to spread this kind of hype. Because, yeah, I'm definitely still extremely sore from the deep shoulder strain in the rear delt area. But I can actually do stuff now, which is awesome. You know, after that initial stage of pinching and, you know, feels like a pinched nerve type of feel, and then you recover, let it heal. You do that little bit of extreme soreness with zero strength, and then eventually my left shoulder is finally evening out with my right. You know, it's starting to get back to where I can comfortably throw something decently heavy without feeling pain. That's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And even if I'm feeling soreness, that's all it is. You know, there's no pain associated with the soreness. It's literally just strain in the muscle, which is completely fine. Because right now, that's what my body's going to feel. You know, you kind of, that one part of your body that gets injured kind of reverts back in time to a point where you were way weaker, and then you just grow back to the current potential of your strength just way faster, you know. But doesn't mean I'm back where I used to be yet, you know. But there's been strides. There have been strides. The new grip on snatch feels really good. It's still going to take some time to get used to because it's a different kind of mobility. I have to work on getting that higher vertical pull, which does feel nice, but it uses a little bit more shoulder. So while I'm evening out my strength on my shoulders, sure, I'm still activating them more than I did before. So I have to really take my time, but you know, I'm finally letting that ego show a little bit. It's nice. You know, I may have only put up 2 plates today, but it's the first time I've thrown 2 plates in near a month. Sheesh. Love to see it every time. It does not get old. I told you guys before, I do not care how much weight I'm lifting. It does not get old. Hitting the heaviest weight that you feel confident and comfortable hitting with that perfect technique, it's what I love to see. I actually almost redid it because it felt a little weird on the 225 attempt. But man, I looked back and it was just shoulder movement. And so I'm at a point where that little bit of a more narrow grip is actually allowing me to catch it exactly where I need to. And if it's a little hard to do the lockout, my elbows actually stay locked out because it's in a better upright position with a more confident, stability overhead. And so now it's just my shoulders, getting moved a little bit up and down on the catch rather than my elbows bending in and out, which is amazing. I love to see it. That's the whole idea. You know, whenever you hit your heaviest weights, especially in the snatch, one of the hardest things to work through is getting to a point where instead of failing due to an unlocked joint, you hit the weight with the same struggle, but you have the technical make, that competition technique, because you just allowed a different part of your body to have that, that slack built into it. It's so fun that I never really thought that having this shoulder injury, even if it's a small one, would allow me to get to a point where I can activate them more than I ever have in the past. Everything's starting to finally even out. It doesn't feel even because my left shoulder is still weaker than my right. It's still recovering, but it doesn't mean it's not even. It's such a cool thing to look back at. But man, what a good day. The bench is what I really want to hone in on because the bench was nuts. I got to a point where I was little doubtful. It happens. You're going to sit there sometimes and just think to yourself oh, fuck. Maybe I was wrong. But I tell you guys all the time, you have to commit in that moment at the very minimum and see if you can do the whole exercise and still say the same thing by the end of it. Because you are not going to know how you are going to feel from one specific thing until you do an entire workout from it. If not, an entire part of your program. I always tell you guys to give it at least a couple weeks to really feel it out, flesh it out. And this slightly wider grip on bench has been so nice when it comes to the control, having my wrist and my elbows fully aligned, distributing the effort across my whole upper body rather than just absolutely destroying either my chest or my shoulders individually, And I was getting up to those weights and I was just the soreness on my left shoulder is making it hard to think straight. It's natural. It happens when you have to go through this type of process. But I stuck through it. I wanted to give it that faith. You got to have hope in whatever you're doing in that moment. And then if you fail by the end of it, who gives a shit? Do better next time. But in that moment, give it that trust. Allow it that independence to work and see if it does. And let me tell you, I got to 305. Man, it's actually funny. I think 305 was one of my weaker sets, even though that was the top set of 5 today. However, I really, it wasn't from any lack of strength or anything. I was just trying to bench how I used to with the more narrow grip and doing a faster descent with a harder explosion. With this slightly wider grip, I can just go slightly slower and have a much more compressed and controlled press through my whole upper body. It feels great. So the first 2 or 3 reps on that last set you'll see are a little quick, and then the last 2 are really solid, for sure. It's something. And I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, immediately telling you how the lifts went, but it's important. I really want to emphasize that, because nothing is feeling that as physically good as it ever has. I'm still feeling weak. I still feel like shit, But that's how it's supposed to be. I'm recovering. But you need to look at the growth that you have during that recovery stage. When you start getting away from that little infant strength area and getting away from just strictly mass soreness, and it's just a little bit of soreness, but you can work with it, And 2 plates is not much for a single, but with the new technique that I've never done before, and with my shoulder as still weak and sore as it is, I'm going to take it. It looked beautiful. I have to take it. I have to be proud. And then on the bench alone, doing 305 for a set of 5 is insane. In the normal program, I am set to do 3 sets of 5 at 295. That is nuts. I feel like I could have done that at 305 today. That is nuts. And trust me, I did not feel randomly physically apt by that last set. My shoulder didn't just stop feeling sore. It was the most sore on that last set. It's actually getting so good now that the rear delt's fully recovering and balancing out. So now that the rear delt's healing, my shoulder's starting to feel the full brunt of all the weight again. And my side delt is actually getting more sore than my rear, which is, again, a good thing. It means that the rest of my shoulders finally have to put in equal amounts of work that doesn't just have to balance out the rear delt because it can't do it on its own. It's wonderful. But predominantly above all that, you can always wait. You can always come back. You can always do too much, but you can never do too little. And I truly believe that. I know that a lot of people won't agree with that second part, saying that you should always push it to the brink. You should always just do the absolute most that you can do. Sometimes you have to relax. Sometimes you got to take it easy, like I did yesterday. Yesterday I needed to chill out. I had to allow my body to make the comeback it needed in that moment, And not just because it was a mental thing, it was fully physical. My body was drained. I felt like I couldn't lift anything, but yet I still did decently good weights, And I got to take that home and wave it around and be proud of it. But the biggest thing is that I did 305. And I sat there, and truthfully, I wanted to put on 3 plates. 3 plates for a set of 5 off an injured shoulder that is still sore as hell. It's just taking that in. It gives me a sense of pride that I've been missing, I haven't had that in a while, and I've missed it. Honestly, you could say that I should have stopped at 295 because I haven't done that weight yet since my shoulder's been healed. But I know what my individual efforts feel like. I know what that last passionate top set feels like. And I know when I have more in the tank, And that last one, I knew I had that. I only tried it because I knew I had the attempt at it. But putting 3 plates on after all those sets, man, it would have put me out. I really believe that. And truthfully, realistically, I probably would have hit it. But it would have been a life or death set, man. And as much as it would have been cool to brag even more about a set of 5 at 3 plates, which, honestly, I don't even think I've ever done that before. I think that would have been almost a PR. But that's not what's important. It's way way more important to realize the time I have, the time that I have to believe that I have, because that's how you grow, that's how you make long-term progress and not just living strictly in the moment. When it comes to the effort that you put in that time and frame, right, in that individual set, that has to be its own thing. But when it comes to the weight itself, the weights are not going to be what dictate the amount of effort you put in or the amount of, technical progression you've made. It's relative to yourself. And so you need to give yourself that credibility when it's deserved. And I was tired, truthfully. It's been a hard week. I did way too much volume on my snatch day 2 days ago. So the fact that I was able to do this off of that bummed out of a shoulder is amazing. But it doesn't give me the right to just abuse it, I can't just take one giant step forward and then think that I can run a fucking mile, or a marathon. It doesn't make any sense. You have to give it that time to earn each individual weight along the way, And I know a lot of people are going to be like, if you were feeling 3 plates in the moment, you should have just thrown it. And I'm like, no. Because I am going to sit there and think, I gave it some really good hard effort on that last set. I gave it a good grind. And it was consistent as hell. And I may have had one more in me, but it wasn't one of confidence. It was one of ego. And that's where the difference has to be separated, I'm going to really hold this one high, but make sure I keep it tempered to the extent that it needs to be so that I can make the most out of this potential, I could wake up tomorrow and my rear delt be fully healed. It'd be awesome. It'd be so cool. Oh, man. But either way, physically, sheesh. I'm actually going to give it an 8.9 because I know that today it appears to be more of a 9 point something kind of day. But let's be real. My shoulder's messed up. My shoulder don't feel too good. That's just how it be. And that's just what I have to accept about myself. I don't get to sit here and tell you guys that I'm healed because I hit a weight. I'll sit there and tell you I'm healed when I'm healed. And shit, with the way I'm moving, if me being healed means getting stronger at an even quicker rate, oh my, think about putting 325 up for 5. Oh my God. That was impossible just a couple months ago. I was barely hitting sets of 6 at 295, let alone failing it, You got to give yourself that positive past perspective in order to actually keep yourself on the ground level, It's really, really important. So mentally, easily, got to give it a 9.35. Very solid. Again, the snatch is difficult. It's really hard to get used to new technique when my shoulder is what I'm feeling the most. I'd rather feel the technique more than my main muscle groups, but it's going to be better for my growth in the end either way, that I put in my best efforts with the weights that I know I can hit with maximum confidence, So I got to take my time either way. And again, it's relieving, It's relieving to see that I've made such a big step that it's, it feels like I'm back, It feels like not that the old me is back, but that the new version of me has completely consumed the old version of myself and said, let's just do something even better, even though we're not even back at 100%, not even near 100% yet. So take it day by day, Gonna ride the high while I got it, but who knows? Could wake up tomorrow and my shoulder could be exploded. It's not putting bad mojo on myself or anything, but that's realistic. But I don't care. I'm doing the best I can, and if this means I'm going to grow, then I'm going to try. And if I take a step back, I'm going to work twice as hard to make that next leap forward. That's all it is. Okay, rambling on too much. I will be back day after tomorrow. Need the next rest day for sure. I'm beat. I need a day to myself. And you guys know I'll always be back either way. Got to keep making progress. It'll be a nice day to do a full clean and jerk day, get some comfortable heavy stuff out of the way, feel it out. But let me know how the lives and lifts have been going. Love hearing about it, and I appreciate you hanging out. I love you guys. See you later. Bye.